Hey guys, Jared with Trout and Fly Fishing, and today we are going to be tying a very versatile, easy, great pattern. We use it for steelhead, we use it for smallmouth, we use it for big trout. We're going to tie a bunny leech. I'm going to tie it with a hot spot cone head, help it stand out a little bit in muddy water. It's going to be in black, which I think is a super versatile color, whether you have dark stained water or even light water where you get some huge contrast with this thing. We're going to get started on this right now. So in the vise today, I have an Umpqua X Series hook. It's the XBG808. So it's their beast hook. It's a cool specialty hook, super strong and super sharp. So for this bead here, or this cone head, it's a hairline hot cone in a size medium. This hook is a 1/0, and it's kind of a small 1/0, but make sure you size these beads or the cones correctly. I'm just going to start some lead here, cover my whole shank. This is going to be super heavy, and it's going to help get me down, but it's also going to help seat my bead there. Just hide that little tag. And that was 0.25 or 0.025 lead wire. When you change up the size, you got to change up the wire diameter there. So for thread, I'm going to use GSP. It's 100 and it's black. It's going to help when I create a dubbing loop. It's going to create a super strong dubbing loop. So just going to seat this here, cover that up, not a lot of pressure there, and then get rid of my tag. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're notified of all of our future fly tying videos, and definitely like this video if you like the video. It helps us out a lot here. So I'm going to bring my thread all the way back, and then I'm going to tie in the tail. For a tail, I have a Magnum rabbit strip, and it's in black. So I've cut this here already. It's about the length of the shank and a quarter. You can vary that length up. I'm actually going to strip some of this away so I get a clean tie-in point. So it'll be a little bit shorter there. You see I just stripped some of that away. I'm going to tie it in right behind my lead so I don't have a giant bump here. If you do get a bump, don't worry about it because you're going to cover this whole thing up. Just get that down there nice and good. That's a pretty long tail. We can trim that out a little bit if it ends up being too long. So at this point here, I'm going to change this up a little bit. I have a hard time finding rabbit hair that's long enough, so I'm actually going to use an Arctic Fox sonker. So I'm going to create a dubbing loop with this, and I'll show you how we do that in just a second here. Okay, so to create a dubbing loop, we're going to measure this so it extends all the way down to my desk here. I'm just going to create a loop, come back, and then I like to throw some wraps around this loop and then come back with it. So at this point, we want that right at our tie-off point. We'll leave my thread at the bead, and then I'm going to take some dubbing wax, and I have Loon Swax. You can use whatever you have for dubbing wax. I don't like to use a whole lot. It can get super sticky, which is the point, but sometimes too much stickiness is a bad thing. So I'm going to take my zonker, I'm going to place it in my loop here. And you know what? I'm actually just going to trim this out in my hand. If you have like a chip clip or one of those dubbing clips, it helps, but I don't like to use extra tools that often. So I'm just going to cut that from the hide. So now that I have this cut from the hide, we're just going to place it in the loop. This is where that clip comes in, if you had one. Just going to get that in there. I have a little bit more here. Sometimes, I like to dub half this thing and then add some more in the end, so you don't have a giant dubbing loop. It can be hard to manage at times. So once I get this in the loop, get it spread out, and get it situated. The good thing is you can be pretty messy with this, and once you start spinning it around, it kind of fixes itself. We'll pick it out with a dubbing brush as well. So get your dubbing tool in there. Make sure you keep tight on this. You don't want to drop this. So throw some spins in there, and then pull down, and you'll see it'll start to twist. So at this point here, I've got it in there. It's not going anywhere, but I like to hit it with a dubbing brush. I'm going to use the Velcro side on this one so it's not too aggressive. I don't want to pick out a lot of this, but I do want to make sure nothing is trapped. You will lose some fibers. We can still adjust this. There's not a whole lot of tension in here. There's a little bit that's trapped. All right, I'm going to spin this up even tighter here. And this is where that GSP comes in. You can really tighten this down. Make sure nothing comes out. We'll hit it again real quick. Okie doke. So I'm gonna start folding these fibers back. We want them to face roughly all the same way. They'll move around when you wrap this, but we want to be wrapping back. And then to start this out, I'm gonna use my rotary feature on my vise just so I can get it going. And then right here, I find it a lot easier for me personally to manipulate this while it's in my hand. So we don't want this too dense, we want this castable. So we're going to start wrapping this with open wraps. Just keep going. It's behind your bead or your cone. This is going to look pretty ugly while you're wrapping. We do want to pack some wraps behind this cone here. We don't want a gap. So work it in there. But we don't want to get too tight. We have just enough. So that was about an 8-inch dubbing loop, and it worked out really well on this hook. Like I said, sometimes I'll get halfway through and realize I need to put another dubbing loop in. That's fine as well. Because the dubbing loop was so long, it can be hard to handle. So if you need to do that, do that. Just get rid of that. Pull fibers back, make sure I don't trap anything. And then I'm going to throw a whip finish in here real quick. I'm going to take the more aggressive side of my dubbing tool here and just pick this out and comb it out. And you'll see it'll start to look a lot better. Let me just comb all that back. That looks pretty good to me. I think I have a little bit trapped back in here. There we go. Okay, so I do have a little bit of a gap behind my cone head, so I'm going to make another small dubbing loop. The smaller dubbing loops are easy to handle, so I should be able to create a nice little dubbing loop, nice and thin, not a lot of material, right behind this bead, and just cover up that little gap. You probably don't have to, but for aesthetic reasons I'm going to. And we can just do that again. Nice little one. Two, if you wanted to throw a contrasting color in here or mix some flash into this, this would be a good place to do it. So we'll see. Wrap that up real quick. There we go. I'm just going to fold that back and wrap it right in there. I clean that up a little bit there. Okie doke. So that's pretty much it, guys. I am going to finish this off with a little bit of super glue. So the easiest way I've found to finish this off is just with a little bit of super glue. I'm just going to put a tiny bit on my thread, make some wraps through here, and that'll cinch everything down. And then sneak a whip finish in there. Ooh. Cut your GSP, and then one more time we'll hit it with a brush. Make sure everything's where we want it. Kind of got some squared off ends. I'll take those out, which is fine. But aesthetically, you may not like that. There we go, guys. That is a hot spot bunny leech. For me, this color combination, this size, is going to be a great steelhead fly this fall. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.